This short video introduces Microsoft's Office web apps. Now it's a little bit unfair, but they are sometimes, it feels to me, the forgotten part of Office 365 among the glamour of Exchange Online and the full Office 2010 suite. But to set that wrong right, I have with me a panel of experts today, and prime among them, if I may say, is Simon May, who's an IT evangelist for Microsoft. So Simon, can you just explain very briefly what Office web apps bring?
Sure, they're part of SharePoint Online. And they allow you to edit a Word document or an Excel document or a OneNote document without having to have the full version of Microsoft Excel, OneNote or Word installed on your machine. And you can also edit at the same time that somebody else is working in exactly the same document. So it allows you to be very, very collaborative about the way that you're working with documents.
So Connor, your company, Core, actually integrates these services. So what real-world differences do you find that things like Office web apps make?
Well, there's actually no integration to be done. It's simply buy the subscription license and tick a box. So from my perspective, there's not a lot to do there. But what does it add? It has the ability for any organisation to have anybody on the road access a document and multiple people simultaneously edit that document, that spreadsheet at the same time. And that is a fantastic ability to be able to offer. It's particularly when most of us nowadays don't spend a tremendous amount of time together in an office to collaborate on items.
And to some people will say, well, it's just a tick box. It doesn't really make any difference. Can you think of any of your clients where it has actually made a difference?
The typical scenario is you know, we're trying to get to the end of a proposal, somebody's worked late at night, they IM me with their instant messaging, I'm at home, comes up on my phone, I just turn on my laptop, quickly open the browser, go in, make the few changes that are needed or approve the changes that are needed, and that proposal can then go out the door. Very quick, very simple, very easy.
And do you think it's an unfair thing then for Office web apps to be forgotten, Simon?
Yeah, I think so actually. They really are genuinely useful, and they actually do allow people to do as exactly what Connor said, to work in completely remote locations. Because you just need access through a browser, and it can be any browser, you can then access from an internet cafe, say, or anywhere else that you've got internet access.
And does that resonate with you, David, with your business situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, again, it's just taking away one more layer of worry. The fact that it's now hardware independent, which is what I love about it. You don't have to worry about the fact that if your laptop dies when you're in the middle of a client meeting, okay, it's not the ideal scenario because you have to ask your client to borrow their laptop or whatever, but it just means you can log back in, the hardware is completely taken out of the equation, it's there on the cloud, you can get to it from any device, and it just works brilliantly well. The thing I love about it as well is that particularly the Outlook web app looks exactly the same as Outlook 2010. I mean, you just can't tell the difference, and so there's no learning curve there at all. You can just go straight from one to the other, and you can't see the difference at all.
And in fact, we should really go through the different web apps that are included. So David's already mentioned the Outlook web app. What else is there?
So there's Word, there's Excel, there's PowerPoint, and there's also OneNote.
So for Word, what would you say are the two key features of Word, the web app that is?
Being able to create a document without having to have Word installed locally. And as a second feature, probably the fact that it's a very easy way to centralise the document store. You only have that one version of the document.
Okay, I'll stop picking on Simon and ask you, Connor, what do you think are the two key features of Excel web app?
Excel web app piece is simply that you can allow up to over 200 users at the same time simultaneously edit. Not that you would do that, but when you actually edit an Excel spreadsheet in the browser, you can see who's editing it, you can see who else is on looking at it, and you can also see what they're actually editing. And then the data is refreshed then and there. There's no messing around about which is the latest version, etc., etc.
And I've accused the Office web apps of being forgotten, and OneNote can often find itself forgotten as well. So poor thing at the bottom of the pile. What about, let's give the OneNote web app a little bit of a celebratory couple of seconds in the limelight. What is fantastic about that?
Well, OneNote itself is an application for creating notes, but in a very digital way. So you don't have to stick to a rigid document format. You don't have to think about things in terms of an A4 page, for example. You can pull in a piece of information here, another piece of information from over there, and just display it in a way that is very interactive for people.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, as we've touched upon, the Office web apps are very much tied in with SharePoint Online. So I do recommend you go and have a look at our brief introductory video to that as well.